It was the punch that made the world stop breathing for a second. One moment of pure chaos, one flash that rewrote boxing history. Nobody saw it coming. The crowd roared, the commentators screamed, and the opponent hit the canvas like time had frozen. This wasn't just another knockout. This was the knockout that left even the toughest fighters speechless. But behind that thunderous punch was a secret, a technique, a mindset, a split-second decision that only the real masters could recognize. It wasn't luck, it was precision, power, and perfect timing. Today, we're breaking down the truth behind the KO that shocked the world, how it happened, why it happened, and what made this single moment one of the greatest shocks in boxing history. This is not just about power, it's about perfection. Let's uncover the secret. Before that jaw-dropping knockout shook the entire boxing world, there was a storm quietly building. Two fighters, worlds apart in style, but united by pride, were on a collision course. One was a global superstar, confident, untouchable, adored by millions. The other, a silent destroyer, often underestimated, often ignored, but burning with a hunger that fame couldn't match. The buildup was electric. Every press conference, every face-off, every headline added fuel to the fire. The underdog's calm demeanor was mistaken for fear, his silence seen as weakness. But in truth, he was studying, watching, and waiting. He wasn't just training to fight, he was preparing to shock the world. In the final week before the match, the energy shifted. Trainers noticed something different, a sharper focus, a colder calm. The kind of stillness that comes before a storm. The underdog's sparring partners couldn't last around. His timing was razor-sharp, his reflexes unreal. He wasn't chasing glory. He was chasing perfection. When fight night arrived, the atmosphere inside the arena was electric. Celebrities filled the front rows, lights blazed down from every corner, and millions watched around the globe. The favorite entered with swagger, soaking in the cheers. But across the ring, his opponent stood like a statue. No emotion, no fear, just purpose. From the opening bell, the story started writing itself. The champion pressed forward, confident, controlling the ring. But something felt off. His punches missed by inches. His timing felt just a second too late. Every move he made, the underdog seemed ready for it, as if he'd seen it all before. The commentators called it patience. But in reality, it was calculation. The underdog wasn't reacting, he was predicting, waiting for that one perfect opening. And when it came, the world would never forget what followed. Because that single punch wasn't just power, it was the result of everything that came before it. Discipline, obsession, and a plan so precise it could only belong to a fighter who refused to be ordinary. He didn't just want to win, he wanted to make history. And that's exactly what he did. The bell rang for round 5, and the energy in the arena shifted. Both fighters had already tasted each other's power, but now the rhythm changed. The crowd sensed it, the commentators felt it, and somewhere deep inside, the favorite knew. The danger was closer than it looked. The underdog moved like a ghost, calm, unreadable, stepping in and out of range with frightening control. Every time the champion threw a combination, he missed by fractions. Sweat flew, gloves crashed, and the sound of leather echoed like thunder. The audience was roaring, but beneath that noise, there was a silence. The silence before the strike. Then it happened. The champion stepped in with a lazy jab, a mistake he had thrown 1,000 times before without consequence. But this time, the underdog saw it. In a blink, he shifted his weight, twisted from his core, and unleashed a counterpunch so fast the camera almost missed it. Crack! The sound was like a gunshot. The champion's head snapped back, his knees buckled, and his body collapsed before his brain could register what had happened. The crowd froze, then erupted. The referee jumped in, waving it off, but it was already over. The king had fallen, not from luck, but from precision. As slow-motion replays filled the screens, the world saw the beauty inside the brutality. The punch wasn't wild. It was perfect. A textbook execution of timing, balance, and control. The angle, the rotation, the follow-through, everything in sync. The knockout became an instant legend. Commentators called it one of the most shocking finishes in boxing history. Social media exploded. Analysts broke down the footage frame by frame, and fans couldn't stop replaying that moment where everything changed. The underdog didn't jump on the ropes or scream in victory. He simply knelt down, looked at his fallen opponent, and nodded, as if he knew it was meant to happen. Because for him, this wasn't just a lucky punch. It was the result of months of silence, sacrifice, and obsession. And while the world called it the knockout that shocked the world, he called it something else. The moment he finally proved what he'd always known. That greatness isn't born. It's built. For weeks after the fight, fans and analysts replayed that knockout over and over again. Everyone had the same question. How did he do it? Was it luck? A misstep? Or something deeper? Something that separated an ordinary fighter from a true technician of destruction? The truth, as his trainer later revealed, was far more fascinating. The secret behind that world-shocking KO wasn't brute force or natural talent. It was data. Every sparring session, every previous fight, every habit of his opponent had been studied with surgical precision. They noticed that the champion had one fatal flaw. Whenever he threw a jab, he dropped his right hand just an inch lower than usual. It was almost invisible to the naked eye, but not to him. That tiny opening became the blueprint for victory. For 6 straight weeks, they drilled one motion, countering that jab with a compact hook that would land before the opponent's glove even returned to guard. Timing became the weapon. Speed was only the tool. What made it even more deadly was the mental side of the strategy. The underdog had conditioned himself to stay calm in the storm, to slow the chaos down in his mind while the crowd went wild. In that clarity, he could see the patterns others missed. Every feint, every breath, every twitch of the champion's shoulder told him when the perfect moment would come. So when it finally happened, that knockout wasn't instinct, it was execution. The perfect union of planning and patience. Years of failure and frustration compressed into a single, flawless second. The secret wasn't a new technique or a magic punch. It was discipline disguised as destiny. The power came from precision, the precision came from study, and the knockout came from a belief that one well-timed punch can rewrite everything. That's why legends aren't built in bright arenas. They're built in silence, in dark gyms, in sweat, in obsession. The world only sees the knockout. The fighter sees the years behind it. And when that glove connected, it wasn't luck at all. It was the result of one man's refusal to accept being average. In the end, that single punch became more than just a highlight. It became a statement. The world called it a miracle, but for the man who threw it, it was proof that greatness doesn't come from noise. It comes from focus. Every drop of sweat, every lonely night, every ignored warning, it all led to that one defining moment. Reporters tried to label it as luck. Critics tried to downplay it. But real fighters knew what they had witnessed: a masterclass in patience, timing, and faith in one's craft. The knockout was the product of discipline so deep that even fear had no room to exist. That's the real secret behind every world-shocking KO. It's not about how hard you hit. It's about when you hit, why you hit, and the years of preparation behind it. Because legends aren't made in a moment. They're revealed in one. So remember this: 1 second can change your life. If you've trained for it, that second can make you immortal.